Hey everybody, I'm here in my laundry room and I'm getting ready to install some wire shelving, and I'm going to do this as live as possible so you can see what it actually looks like to install this stuff from start to finish. Here's the materials I have. I've got a 6-foot piece of wire shelving that I'm going to cut down to 64 inches. You're also going to need some of these back clamps for where the shelf meets the wall. Also have some of these shelf caps to cover up the cuts that I've made. Also have 4 mounting brackets with pins and anchors. This gear cost me a total of $36, and so if you're wanting to install a shelf somewhere, that'll give you a baseline idea of what it might cost you. Alright, the tools that I'm going to be using, I've got my DeWalt 20-volt drill. Also have my bolt cutters to cut my wire shelving. Also got a hammer, tape measure. I've got my level, eye protection, and then pencil and Sharpie. What? Oh, dude, stop looking at my wife's underwear. Jeez. Can you focus now? Good for you. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is measure our shelving space. My shelving space has a total of 65 inches all the way across, and I'm gonna subtract about a ½ inch from each side. I did go ahead and measure out my cut locations on this wire shelving, and I've marked that with a permanent marker, 64 inches. And I'm gonna cut in each of these locations with my bolt cutters. Harder than I expected, but doable. Daddy needs to visit the gym a little more. You might be able to see this. The locations where I cut this metal are pretty rough. They could hurt somebody. And that's what they sell those end caps for. I've got these ClosetMaid end caps you can buy. And I'm gonna set those, I'm gonna push those in position. That way those sharp ends are protected. So I'm going to protect the other side as well with these end caps. All right, now the shelf is ready. I'm going to use my level to draw a completely level line across the length of this wall so that I have my shelf perfectly level. So here goes. The bubble has gone home. All right, now you're supposed to install these back clips about once every 12 inches and make sure to stay within 2 or 3 inches of each edge. And so I'm gonna mark my locations for these now, bearing in mind that where the shelf sits will be a ½ inch lower than where the pin will actually be installed. The anchors on these guys look just a little bit smaller than the anchors that I'm gonna be using on the brackets. And so I'm gonna actually use a 3/16 drill bit just to make sure there's no wiggle room between the anchor and the hole that I make. Now that each of my holes are marked, I'm gonna go ahead and drill a hole for the anchor. Real gentle, not taking any extra off. And I did not hit any studs there, so I'll be anchoring those right where those holes are. And if your pin's a little bit fussy, you can use the handle of your hammer to push that into place. Okay, now that our back clips are installed, it's time to actually install the shelf onto those back clips. Okay, and after you realize that you were a total dummy and should have made sure that these back clips sit between the wires, you can pull those out that aren't fitting right and reinstall them. Those two needed adjusted about a ½ inch. So here they go. Now we'll give this another shot. Okay, so when you're done, you could fill those holes in, no problem, or just make sure that something is sitting in front of them to cover them up for when your wife comes in to look at your work. Okay, now we're ready to install the support brackets, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay, this little thing is actually not going to sit how you think it would. It's not going to be bearing the weight in a U-shaped fashion. There it is, claws down. It's going to sit just like this in your shelf, and then the bracket will sit against the wall from below. I'm going to end up attaching these once every couple feet. All right, I'm going to take my level, set it up here, and make sure that my shelf is level back to front now. And that actually looks pretty good. From here, the bubble's gone home. So I'm going to draw my location, drill my hole. You're going to take your bracket and go up until the hole is exposed. And then you're going to install the anchor from the outside of the bracket. Push the pin in and we're all set. Okay, I'm going to have these spread out about 2 feet each by the time it's all said and done. There's level, drill my hole, raise the bracket until I can see my hole, install my anchor and the pin into the anchor. Once again, I can use the butt of my hammer if I need a little extra help pushing that pin in. Next anchor is going to sit right here. I do have both ends of the shelf where I want them, but I'm still going to check level in between. Make sure everything looks good. All right, last one. I'm going to position about right here. Going to ensure level here, and it does look good. And then push in the pin. That's it. There's not much to hanging wire shelving. This took about 10 minutes total. As for the extra holes in the wall, this is the laundry room, so a little strategic detergent placement. See you next time. Now as far as